Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. This episode has been in our cart for 45 minutes, but the whole website breaks every time we try to release it. Stop and rest here. I can give you magic. So the Nintendo Cartridge Society gives magic with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including Switch 2 pre-orders, and then on Thursday, we're coming up with our own Nintendo Switch 2 editions of Nintendo Switch 1 games. Mark, but in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. The Switch 2, the name has been in our lives for a while now, but it wasn't until this very moment that I really started to consider
We're going to have to be saying those words a lot.
Switch 2.
Switch 2.
We've never had this instance before, right? Where Nintendo has just named their follow-up console.
Yeah, I mean, there are some close calls, right? There's Wii U, there's
Sure.
3DS, there's Super Nintendo Entertainment System,
Yeah, there's just something
Game Boy Advance.
I don't know, there's just something about Switch 2 that just feels a little harder to get out of the mouth.
Yeah, well, I mean, Switch on its own, we got consonant clusters ahoy at the beginning and at the end, right?
Yep.
And then we rolled right into that 2. Switch 2.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, this is going to be the next 8 years of our lives.
I know.
And plus, because we'll forever be talking about whatever gets released on the Switch 2. So I think we either have to start, putting wine corks in our mouth and improving our diction, or
Does that work?
I can't.
Where does that come from?
I feel like it's a
you've
finishing.
summoned
I feel like
an
it's a
evocative
yes,
image that I was like that. Mark said it with the confidence that that must be in a Looney Tunes cartoon.
No, I think it's a
or
finishing
My Fair
school
Lady.
thing.
Okay.
It's like a finishing school thing.
Yeah. Write in if you ever had a wine cork stuck in your mouth too.
I read if you've been to finishing school. That's
Yeah, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we're either gonna have to get really good at saying it, or we're not gonna care, and it'll just become a sloppy slur of words,
Yeah.
or we can come up with some like abbreviation that we all feel good about. Like SNES or SNES or whatever.
Sure. I mean, the issue is that the consonant clusters are a lot. Switch 2 is in fact just a 2-syllable phrase.
Mhm.
There's not much shorting it.
Yeah.
Unless we want to just start saying Switch. And just leave the
Yeah, I feel like
there's
I
a
like this
transition
idea. There's a
period here.
transition period.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, 4 or 5 years into this thing.
Then we just call them all Switch.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, by that point, our memories will be going, so it'll all be blurring together anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How long do you think this generation will be? We'll live longer, the Switch 2 or Mark and Patrick?
Well, the way we live our lives, or
if you'd like to support us in living more healthy lives, you can head on over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you are supporting us at the 8-bit or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS Arcade.
Yes, where Patrick and I are mostly playing games that we've never beaten before, and for the month of April, we are playing Okami. The PlayStation 2 classic Zelda-like, and I am really looking forward to this discussion. I think it is such an interesting game, and I can't wait to talk about it. We are going to be talking about it very soon. I don't think we've exactly drilled down on a recording date, but it is imminent.
Right. Coming up soon. Will it be out by the end of April? No. It won't. But it's still our April game.
It's still our April game.
So look for that in the very near future. I'm also very excited to talk about it. Because what an interesting, strange game we have on our hands here. We will then be following that up with a listener feedback episode about Okami. So if you have thoughts or questions or comments about Okami or our takes on Okami, email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And we will use those emails in an episode that'll be available on Patreon for free for everyone. So whether you are supporting us at an actual money giving level or not, you can write in. You can also listen to those episodes as long as you're following us for free on Patreon.
But keep those email typing fingers warmed up because we got 2 more things for you.
Right. The other fingers that you got, the fingers that don't type emails, you can
put those to rest.
Put them to bed. Right. You don't need them. All you need now are your email typing fingers because, Mark, we are approaching our 866th episode of this show, which means that we need to do a sequel to our 433 episode. We're doing an 866 episode.
That's right. And as part of this 866 episode, we're going to be talking about anything that is not Nintendo related. And we would love to have your questions for that episode.
That's right. So you need to write into us with topics that we can talk about, questions that we can answer, just so long as they're not about Nintendo.
That's
Email
right.
us, Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
And we will incorporate those into the episode.
But don't put those fingers away just yet.
What do they need fingers for now? Still,
Discord,
Mark?
Baby.
Join the Discord. Send us a email, and I'll invite you in. You can talk about all the stuff that's going on in Nintendo. A great place to hang out and see like up to the minute reactions from people about all of this new Nintendo stuff that has been hitting the internet lately.
And now you can rest.
Now all of your fingers, whether they be typing, email typing, or not, they can all go to bed.
We have a small debug from Thursday's episode. So on Thursday, we were talking about like the taxonomy of Nintendo titles. Like what can we tell or not tell from the way that Nintendo chooses to title a game. And as part of that, we were talking about game titles that included the name of the system in it. So Wii Sports is an example, or Donkey Kong 64.
Advance Wars.
And when we were talking about the Switch, we could only think of 2 games. Everybody 1-2 Switch and 1-2 Switch.
Yes.
That included the game title, but Discord joiner person.
Yeah.
And friend of the show, May Say Ace, reminded us about Nintendo Switch Sports, which I can't believe we forgot, but it's such a good call out.
Is such a good call out, and so funny that in that context, the Nintendo Switch functions as Wii.
Right.
Because it is still part of like the Wii Sports series and therefore like the greater Wii series, even though the word Switch is in there. So like sometimes these words really mean things and sometimes they don't. We did also get an email on the same or similar related topic from Chariot Goblin, who writes in, regarding the Decoding Game Titles episodes, I have 2 corrections. Number 1, Kirby's Return to Dreamland 2011 was not a remake. It was a brand new console Kirby game and brought Kirby into the modern era in terms of gameplay and design, paving the way for Kirby's successes on 3DS and Switch. I think you and I claimed a little bit of ignorance around like the Kirby games. There are just so many titles, and they kind of blur together, I think, for you and I.
Yeah, but thank you for calling it out, because that's good to know.
And then this other note here about Metroid Samus Returns is most likely called Samus Returns due to the fact that it was an official Nintendo 2D Metroid releasing in 2017, 13 years after 2004's Metroid Zero Mission, which was a remake of Metroid 1. It also works with the original Metroid 2 Return of Samus title. Samus was finally returning to her 2D roots, basically. So it is kind of like a double dip of both the character returning and the like specific genre mode for this franchise returning, while also being a play on the original Return of Samus title.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, that triple meaning. Way to go, Nintendo!
Yeah, triple word score.
Yeah,
that's impressive stuff. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. Now, unfortunately, most of what we've been playing, of course, is Okami.
Yes.
And we already had a little like pre-show, little chat about it, and I was like, "Oh no, we're burning all of our thoughts." So we can't possibly talk more about Okami right now. I do just want to mention that I've been spending a little bit of time, a little bit of like decompression time playing the Shovel Knight King of Cards scenario. You and I went on Connor McCabe's Call Me By Your Game podcast co-op episode last week to talk about Shovel Knight. mostly Shovel of Hope, but the like entire treasure trove package. Great episode. We had a ton of fun recording it. So if you're following the Super NPC Patreon, you should check out that episode when it posts. Connor, let everyone know in the Discord when it posts. But so yeah, I like that the evening that we were recording that episode, I was playing Shovel Knight, and I saw you, Mark, log on to play some Shovel Knight.
Yes, that's right.
It's just a fun little
It's what a great game.
What a great fun game. And jumping back into King of Cards, I was like really again impressed with how different some of those scenarios are, where like they change kind of the whole format of the game and like how you get around, what their priorities are. The levels are really short in the King of Cards campaign, and they have secret exits and stuff like that. It's just stuff that's not part of like the Shovel Knight DNA, but works incredibly well with just a couple tweaks.
One thing I did want to ask you about is we're about a month in from the launch of the Nintendo Today app that was revealed at the end of the March Nintendo Switch Direct. It was like the Miyamoto one last thing. And this is kind of prompted by Anthons in the Discord. Got a survey from Nintendo of America asking for their opinion on the Nintendo Today app, including a question like, on a scale of 1 to 100, how satisfied are you with the Nintendo Today app?
Truly too granular.
Yeah,
Nintendo,
that's
you don't need you don't need that specificity. Maybe 1 to 5, right?
Right. Yeah. But it made me curious. What are you thinking about the Nintendo Today app? Are you are you checking it every day? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
So I do not check it every day. And when I do check it, I find that it is a little too over encumbered with its own garbage to be as useful or as fun as I want it to be. When it first launched, and I was like, oh, here's like a clip of like the Zelda orchestra playing something. Like, that's kind of cool. But at that moment, I wasn't really clocking like, oh, there's an ESRB rating that has to like show up for a couple seconds before all of these things. If you have your phone muted, it won't play the music. And like if you are listening to something else and you bring up the app, it like pauses that other stuff. So this thing can, and it's just an inconvenient app in a way that it does not have the content to outweigh its inconvenience.
Yeah, and I wonder if it is suffering from, because I totally agree with you on like the UI UX of it all. Because I like how at the bottom of all or most, when you click on something, the app chooses to open it in different ways. Like you might get just like a 16:9 video, or you might get like an article, or you might get a cartoon. Sometimes it's a motion comic. And so if it's an article or something like that, you can scroll to the bottom and it has a very easy to find indicator where you can choose between, oh, did you think this was cool, cute, like funny? And then it shows you the percentage of people who have chosen one or the other. That stuff is accessible if it's like a video, but you have to go digging for it. It's like you have to click like the
really?
3-dot menu and then the thing shows up. So to me, it feels like, I don't know. Sometimes like I think some of the Pikmin comics that they put on there, not the motion comics, because I think those are a pain, but like I think those are cute. But to me, it feels too much like, I mean, just literally, they're like, we are recycling assets that already exist. Like, hey, if it's going to be on the phone, let it be vertical video, right? Even if I'm not getting the entire experience, like, just
crop it for me.
Just crop it for me. Like, make it feel a little, like, more native to the experience. Then the other thing that drives me crazy, but I think it's maybe just a victim of, that just like all of us are waiting for the Switch 2 to launch, that the Nintendo Today app is also just waiting for the Switch 2 to launch, because
so it's just telling you about things you can't access,
and there's just nothing to talk about right now, because you know, like, nothing is happening. So the first day they were like, here's some Zelda movie news, and you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But then since then they don't have anything big to talk about, because we're all just waiting for the like new stuff to happen that they can't talk about until the Switch 2 launches.
Right. Well, and like, we sort of talked about this when the app was announced, that it's like, okay, so what goes here, right?
Right.
Like, do you break news here? Does that make any sense at all? Because it's going to be a much, much smaller audience than like literally any other social media app you could put it on. And in particular, like YouTube, when they can just put something in a video.
Well, I do feel like, I don't know if that's that much of a concern, because just like with the Zelda news, as soon as it's posted on
Right, it
Nintendo
breaks
today,
containment.
like
Yeah.
everybody is going to do that work for them.
Right.
It's all going to get posted everywhere anyways.
Right.
If it's of any value at all.
But it's not like they have slowed down their tweeting or anything. Like, part of my thinking around the launch of that thing is that I was like, oh, do they just want to like get out of having to like tacitly endorse any social media platforms?
Right.
Now that like Twitter in particular is such like a politically charged thing, because Elon Musk is insane. And like, it seems like, no, they obviously have a console to launch, and so they're going to be on the platforms where people are.
Right.
So like,
no, I completely agree. So yeah, so if you were to give it a 1 through 100,
yeah,
where would you land right now?
Okay, so when this popped up in our Discord, and Anton said that he had the survey, I was like, "What's on there right now?" Like, I don't think about the app. Let me go see what's on there. And the top article for me, or the top piece of content for me, was 2 different 3D renders of the high-speed HDMI cable for Switch 2.
I couldn't believe that was true, and so I had to go check,
true.
and it was true. Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Who of interest to whom
Yeah.
is this post?
It really does feel scraping like bottom of the barrel type
And then
stuff.
you go to see like, did people say this was cute or funny or cool? And it's kind of like, there's no crappy button, so people are just picking something.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that the UX is bad. I think most of the content is bad and presented poorly. I can't believe that there's ESRB ratings for everything. Even when there's a rating pending, you'll still get the RP thing.
It's also interesting to me that only seems to show up on newer games, because if you click on some of like the legacies, or I guess my complaint is I don't know when that gets triggered or not.
Right, sure.
Like, when do they feel like, because anything with Mario Kart World for sure has it. The thing that really bugs me about it is I don't know what I'm gonna get, and not in a good way. It's like, am I gonna click on this thing and it's going to like read nicely in the app? Am I going to click on this thing? It's just going to be some like crappy video that they've uploaded.
Yes.
That I can't really like do anything with. I don't know.
And if it is like the Zelda Symphony playing a piece of music, like, cool, but then I got to like sit there and watch the video the whole time.
Right.
If I encounter like a cool video on YouTube on my phone, it can do the little thing where like it becomes a floating window and I keep like scrolling around looking at other stuff. But like, I'm just going to sit there and watch this whole video.
There's also, I think it's interesting that they don't let you see previous days, at least as far as I can tell.
Right.
But it's only the stuff from today, and you can look at the history of the things that you have looked at. But as far as I know, you can't just like go back. It's not like a feed, like an infinite feed to see like, oh, well, did they post 2 weeks ago or something? Which I think is an interesting choice. The calendar is an interesting idea, but there's not really anything interesting going on. And it seems to omit, it doesn't seem completely comprehensive. So I don't know.
Scale of 1 to 100. I mean, I'm like 20, 30, like.
Yeah. And, on the one hand, you're like, well, how much can you expect from, like, Nintendo?
Shigeru Miyamoto came out at the end of a Nintendo Direct to say, we've got one more thing for you, and it's this.
It just feels like they're not trying at all, because they're very clearly not making content for the Nintendo Today app. They are repurposing content that already exists. Like we talked about that, like the like Pikmin What Is It thing is existing animation that they have been showing, on like the subways in Tokyo or in like Japan for like for at least 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's all just it just feels so low effort. And so it's like, well, why should I care if you're going to show me this thing like guess the character and it's Toad? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because yes, I do. Mark, I know exactly what you mean, and it seems like it is a holdover of the like Smash Brothers Dojo right? Where like it was a website that every day was updated with like a little bit more information about Smash Brothers Melee. And it was just like an
A Brawl.
Brawl.
I think so, is the Wii one.
Yeah, great point. It was Brawl. Um, that like sometimes it would be a new playable character, and sometimes it would be like, I don't know, the bat swings like this now. And like if they had a game like that where as soon as it's announced, all of the individual details are like candy, and those candy details rolled out on the app, like maybe maybe that would be fun.
And the thing is, I think they could have if they had chosen to do it. Like, I think you still could do something like that with Donkey Kong Bonanza. We don't know hardly anything about that game,
Sure.
right? And I don't. To your point about Smash Dojo, I don't think they have to be big things, but
Yes.
they just have to be something that feels like I'm going to check back because, to your point, I don't know if today is the day they're going to reveal Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong Bonanza, or it's going to be a day where they're just showing off like a small piece of it. But I'm going to check because I want to be there when the big thing happens.
The fundamental difference between Donkey Kong Bonanza and Smash Brothers Brawl is like we knew what Smash Brothers Brawl was going to be.
Yeah, that is true.
Like where like every detail about the features that they're adding to this specific game, that'll be interesting because we already understand the total framework of what that game is. Bonanza, I feel like we don't, and until people like get their hands on it and are actually playing it, we won't know. So the next time they do like if they were to do another 3D like Breath of the Wild style Zelda, in like a different kingdom or whatever, whatever the twist on it is, and then started rolling out those details in Nintendo today, that could be compelling. A new Smash could do that. If Mario Kart World were a more straightforward Mario Kart game, I feel like that could go in there too. But like, or Splatoon. Splatoon would be a great candidate for something like this. But it just seems like they don't have a thing like that they're selling right now.
And I think that's a great point. And I also think, to your point with Smash Dojo, the other thing that makes it different is even though it, 100% was a very controlled corporate, thing, it was all through the persona of Masahiro Sakurai being like, I'm telling you more information.
A great point. Yes.
And this is just like, like Nintendo, the entity. And this is totally, Arrested Development gif. Like, I don't know what I expected.
Right.
Right. Because it's like, oh, it's a
dead duck,
app.
Don't need it.
It's a app from Nintendo specifically to serve up PR to you. So of course it's not going to be, like anything all that exciting most days. And so it's like, yeah, like realistically, what could you have really expected? And even then, this is below my expectations.
Yes.
It just feels so low effort.
Yeah, I agree. And it just feels like there's nothing there.
All that said, maybe if they do get a game going, right, that, like a new Smash or something, perhaps they could use it that way. They just haven't shown us that they have any desire to.
Right. So, I'm not burying it, but I do think it's dead.
Yeah.
All right. Anything further to say about Nintendo today, or should we get out of what we've been playing?
Let's get out of it.
All right. So that's the new releases are up next. Or are they?
Yeah, not even a Nintendo Music update to talk about because it's a public holiday in Japan.
Oh,
and
okay.
So no update, no even early update.
Right,
just no update
in
at all.
In the past, they've done some like earlier, like Sunday evening or whatever. But yeah, thank you for the shout out about the public holiday. I was not tracking to that. So do we think there'll be one tomorrow, or we just take a week off?
I think we're just taking the week off. And we'll have those like 137 or whatever tracks from Fire Emblem Engage
yeah, that's true.
to tide us over.
And then truly like nothing else coming out on Switch this.
We're all
this
just
week.
waiting for the Switch 2.
Even the games that are going to be launching on Switch 1 at the same time as Switch 2, not obviously, but probably they could go right now. Like they're ready, and the water's fine now. Come on in. People want things to play. Although maybe not. Maybe everyone's just like, whatever, I'm waiting for Switch 2. Okay, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you wrote our prompt for today.
Yes, that's right. I wanted to talk about our TV show backlog. So either shows that are like well regarded or kind of like all timers that you would like to watch but have never gotten around to, or shows that are considered classics that you're like, I'm just never gonna watch it. I'm just letting this pass me by.
Sure. So do these have to be like shows from the past?
No, I don't think so.
Because like the show right now that I'm like, I want to get around to this when we've got some time on like the other side of Last of Us and Andor and all this stuff. Is The Pit? I want to watch The Pit.
Ooh, The Pit is good. Yes,
that's what I keep hearing. All of the podcasts I listen to are like, ooh, The Pit, and all the people in my life are like, ooh, The Pit.
Yeah, it's fun.
You know, I haven't had a medical show in my life for a long time, so like. Yeah, that's a recent one for me. Do you have a recent one, or are you thinking mostly?
Well, so the reason that this came to my mind is because I am attempting a rewatch of The Wire.
Yeah.
The David Simon HBO show from the like early 2000s.
Early enough that it was not filmed in widescreen.
Yes, that's right. Although the version that's available on HBO is the one where they like
fake it.
It's 16:9, but it was overseen, I believe, or at least David Simon had some involvement in it. So it's a compromised way to watch it, but you're right. It was not filmed in widescreen. And because I've never finished it before. I've seen maybe like 2.5 seasons, but I've never gone through all 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And so I started from the beginning and in season 1, but like basically all of David Simon's shows except for Generation Kill, which was like a mini series that he did about the Iraq War. Like Treme, I've seen like 2.5 seasons of. The Deuce, I don't think I watched the full season.
Right.
Or I don't know how many there are, but I didn't finish a single season. So that's why this was on my mind. Like,
that you just like wanted to like try and get back. Well, especially because like I don't know if what your perception of The Wire is as like the contours of the specific seasons, but like 1 is incredible. I love 2, but I feel like 2 is less good. 3 has like kind of a weird lumpiness to it, and then 4 is absolutely killer.
Is it only 4 seasons?
No, and then there's a 5th.
Okay.
And the 5th is good too. It gets a little bit like bigger, a little bit more fantastical than the show is otherwise. But by that point is making a smart comment about itself, so I give it the leeway to get a little crazy, a little sensationalist. But love The Wire.
For you, are there any classic
Sopranos.
TV shows or like older
Never
TV
seen
shows?
it.
I've never seen The Sopranos either.
That's okay. Do we need to remedy that together or something?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, is that a mini series of NCS?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, of the Patreon.
Could be.
Of we just watched
The Sopranos.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, what other classic? I never watched Cheers. I've seen a couple episodes. No, I actually don't even know that I've seen a couple episodes of Cheers.
Cheers is good, like, and it holds up in like a modern context, especially like the first couple seasons.
I know people who love Frasier and really recommend I get into it, but the episodes I've seen, it's not like I dislike it, but it's never been enough to hook me.
Yeah. I like Frasier. You know, I've wanted to. I did not like the first couple episodes of. There are a lot of these. Sorry, I'm interrupting myself. There are a lot of these like revival shows that like are of shows that I liked in the past that like I've watched the first couple episodes and been like, oh, this sucks. And like it's truly just like watching the first couple episodes of a new TV show. They all suck, right? Especially comedies in their first couple episodes are just bad. And I'm not giving them their fair due, like the Frasier reboot. And like the Roseanne reboot / The Conners, which like every now and then I see like a clip or like an episode in isolation of The Conners, which has been on for 6 years, by the way. The Conners has been on for 6 years. And like it seems great. And it's like, yeah, Laurie Metcalf, John Goodman, it's got Sarah Gilbert. It's got like an absolutely killer cast. Why wouldn't it be the best comedy on TV?
I've never watched the original Roseanne. We weren't allowed to growing up.
That's awesome. So that is awesome.
Yeah, never allowed. Didn't watch Roseanne. Didn't watch Cheers for the same reason.
Right.
It took place in a bar. Are you kidding? There's no way I was going to be able to watch that.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I don't know. Are there other like classic TV shows?
MASH, I've never seen, and I don't think I'll ever see MASH.
I never finished Deadwood.
Oh,
and that feels like a point of shame. Like I should.
You know, it's just Deadwood is great, and the movie is not. But the
I'm stopping the 433.
It's just unfortunate where Deadwood ended how it ended, where there could have been so much more. But I do think that the first 3 seasons are very good. But I also won't shame you. There's just so much stuff.
There's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
But like, that's, I mean, the only reason that you're not shaming me is that we both said we didn't watch The Sopranos.
You're right. No, you're right. If I had watched The Sopranos and you hadn't, I would have been lording that over
That's
you.
right. I would be melted into an embarrassed puddle on Mark's rug here. We were accompanied today by an ensemble at the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. All right, Mark, let's get into the news. Such as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the big thing we've got to talk about is Switch 2 pre-orders. They went live in North America last Wednesday, and I mean, what? Look, I knew it was going. I knew it was going to be messy,
right?
And it was like worse than I thought it was going to be. But to be completely honest with you, I don't know how you do it better other than honestly what Nintendo is doing, where it's like
on their website, you mean?
Yeah, on their website, where it's like sign up and then we're going to pulse this over a long period of time. Because when you have millions of people trying to, and bots and whatever, trying to like log on to websites at the same time, there's just no world where that's going to go well. It's just not possible.
Right. And even if it were possible, like to build up the bandwidth for that, it's like, why build up the infrastructure when it's going to be relevant for 30 seconds once every 8 years?
Right. Right.
And like the end result for any of these retailers is they sell out of all of their pre-orders anyway.
Right.
And basically immediately. So what do they care if the process is convenient for people?
Right.
Right.
That being said, it was stressful and not fun.
Yes. So, just to cut to the chase here, Mark, you were able to secure one from
Best Buy, yeah.
And I was not able to secure one from anywhere. And we were both like obviously sitting on our computers waiting to go at 9 o'clock, which is when they went live.
9 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
So what was your setup? I had my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I had my iPad.
Yes.
Which had the Best Buy website and the Target website open.
Okay.
And then on my laptop, I had Best Buy and a Walmart window open.
Gotcha.
And my phone, I was using for the Best Buy app.
Gotcha. So I just had Best Buy and Target up. And I really didn't want to get it from Target. I wanted to get it from Best Buy. And so I had my laptop with 2 different browsers open to the Target and Best Buy like web stores, and then my phone had the Target and Best Buy apps, and so was kind of like cycling between those. I didn't have like an iPad in the mix. I didn't have Sarah's computer going, but like by all accounts probably should have, because I did not land a pre-order.
So it hits like 8:59 and 50 seconds.
Right.
And I start like refreshing everything, going from right to left basically.
Yes.
And right at 9 o'clock.
So Walmart by this point had already started like a line.
And so I was able to get into the Walmart line, and at maybe like a 10:30, 10:45, it like was my turn and it added it to my cart, but I was never able to check out on Walmart. Like when it was finally in my cart, I like checked out, and then eventually was like, this is sold out. That was a similar experience for me for Target. Like Target, maybe like 1 or 2 minutes of refreshing, errors, whatever. I was able to add it to my cart, and then I spent the next 45 minutes like not paying attention to anything else and just trying to like use Apple Pay, use a credit card, use whatever to try to check out on Target for like 45 minutes. Was not successful. Could never get it to do it, and then finally was just like, this item sold out. It took it out of my cart completely.
Right, and that 45 minutes was well spent because, of course, Best Buy did not really have their pre-orders up and available until like basically 9:30.
Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't realize that.
They just like kept being listed as not available.
Yeah,
like, that the pre-orders were not available yet. So like time stretches on here, and it's just like, well, when are these actually going to be unlocked? And sometime around 9:30, then they actually were like available. But only in a like, you click on it and then it says like it has your position in line or whatever. But then while that's happening, you can't like browse other
you can't
products.
leave. Yeah.
So like I don't know how, even if you were to land the Switch 2 in that moment, how you could also pre-order a Pro controller.
I don't think you could. Like, you would have to use another account.
Right. And then you were in the same like data crunch of a line or whatever.
Yeah, that I don't know.
There.
I don't know if it was different for different products.
No, it was.
Okay.
So I had so in addition to all these things up on in different browsers, I had different tabs for the Pro controller and for the camera.
And so, yeah.
And at this point, I was like, the amiibo, I'm going to come back for in the morning.
Right. And for Best Buy at 9, when it like, or 8:59 or whatever, when I started like refreshing it, the app just crashed at that point. Like, it wouldn't even, like, you would open the app, you would go to like try to go to the Switch 2 page, and it would just crash.
Right.
And so I gave up on Best Buy, and then when Target failed and I was still in line in Walmart, I checked in with you and friend of the show Connor and
Matt Acevedo.
Yeah, friend of the show Matt Acevedo. And you guys were saying you were in line for Best Buy, that it opened up late. And so I got into the line, and I don't think it was a line. I truly think it was a lottery system. Because I got into the line, and then 15 minutes later or whatever, it picked me and was like, here, like, go buy your Switch 2, and I was able to get one. It doesn't make any sense because you guys had been waiting for much longer than I had. So I really think it was just totally random.
I agree, but also like I would just occasionally, after like 15-20 minutes, get kicked out of that line.
Oh, interesting.
Where it would just go back to like the order page, and like I could click the order button again, but then it would just like send me back into that queue. And this is the same. I was while texting with you guys, I was also in a different text thread with Connor McCabe, Jeremy Schmidt, and Matt Apodaca, all trying to coordinate and like triangulate on what was working and what wasn't, and like heading on over to Twitter to be like, what's Wario64 say is going on, and we basically just watched the internet melt in real time as people tried their hardest to get their hands on a Switch 2 pre-order.
So what I ended up, to your point about the accessories, what I ended up doing was, after I was able to secure the Switch 2 pre-order, when I got like the bundle, the one with the Mario Kart World.
Congratulations.
And then I went back to Best Buy to try to do accessories, but they also had like lines.
Yeah.
And so I just gave up on that. Was able to order 2 things, like the camera and the Pro controller, on Target without like a problem.
So I did that too, but the next morning.
Okay, yeah. And so then on Friday, I went to Best Buy's website, and they had like all the accessories available.
Right.
So I just ordered them through Best Buy.
Right.
And then canceled the Target order because I'm just hoping to be able to pick up everything at like the same time. So it was the accessories were easier than I thought it was going to be post that like night of pre-order stuff.
Which honestly makes a ton of sense, and they should really just, the next time they do this, is like consoles this day, accessories the next.
Yeah.
And also, is this an appropriate time we'll talk about Amiibo in just a second.
Yeah, we'll talk about Amiibo separately.
Because the sort of next recourse for me was GameStop, right? And
because those were opening up the next day at like 11 a.m. Eastern time, so 8 a.m. Pacific time.
Right. And this was maybe the worst website experience of the four total, because like just clicking anywhere on GameStop's website at 8 o'clock, just absolutely obliterated it. That it was just like an error window.
Yeah, you're
right?
just getting like the Cloudflare,
Totally,
like
yeah.
the server is just dead.
Right. It has been pummeled. It does not exist anymore. So, and then it was evident really quick that it was over, and like that wasn't going to be an option. I at that point was like, I was at work already, and like I had a lot of stuff going on, and I was like, I don't really think I can go to GameStop
Because
to
there
like stand
were
in
people
line.
that were successful
Right.
by like standing in line. Because it seems like a lot of GameStops had a pretty good amount of stock. But it's also hard to know. But by that time it's 8, and if people already been in line, like, do you want to
Right.
go? And
Right.
it's hard.
When especially when like it's part of the work day, and
Uh-huh.
you're like, can I just leave? Like I could have, but like I don't know. It
Totally,
didn't seem
totally.
responsible. So yeah, that's that was a bust for me, and then I didn't make it to GameStop that day to do any kind of pre-ordering. So now Amiibo,
Well, I guess I just want to on Switch 2 stuff.
yes.
At this point, it's really down to Nintendo.com for pre-orders.
Well, maybe it's
Yeah.
just down to Nintendo.com, because in the immediate days after, like pre-orders were showing back up on Walmart. I don't know if other retailers had them like just showing up, but like I do sort of expect that, as especially especially when Nintendo gets like their stock going out, that people are going to cancel pre-orders other places.
Mm-hmm.
Especially people that maybe didn't get the bundle but were able to get the bundle from Nintendo. That may be a little bit of a difference, and we may see stock starting to like reappear at retailers again. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And
It also feels like such a commodity right now, where it's like, just get two. Like there's someone in your life who wants one, who hasn't been able to pre-order it, right?
And and we don't know how many Nintendo will have, how many they'll have in that first
Right.
wave, what that will look like. Will that process also be like, fingers crossed that it goes smoothly, because they'll be doing it, they'll be pulsing it, but nobody really knows. I expect that there will be stock that is not pre-order stock at retailers on launch day. Somebody might have to line up really early for it, but
was that true for Switch?
I don't
One?
know.
I don't think they're.
But
Yeah,
it just
I don't
seems
know.
so crazy to me that they wouldn't reserve any for
Right.
like for launch day. It may not be a ton, but they haven't said one way or the other.
Right. Well, and we don't know like how supply constrained Nintendo is here. Like first, based on just how many they were able to manufacture, but also in terms of like how many they allotted to North America in light of like tariffs and stuff, because they delayed the pre-orders by like 3 weeks so they could sort that out.
Well, and we know that demand is there, or it seems all signs point to demand being there. There's obviously this like rush on pre-orders in France. One of the big electronics retailers there, Fnac or FNAC, whatever, said that like it's the highest pre-order numbers that they've ever seen, or something like that. Nintendo in Japan has, they had over 2 million people try to sign up for
2.2 million people warranted a Twitter message that began, "This is for Akawa."
Yes,
right?
being like, we're not everyone is going to get like a launch unit. We just don't have the stock for that. So,
which is also what I mean. You sort of alluded to it, but I think it's worth saying that Nintendo has also said regarding their pre-orders, that
Nintendo of America,
yes, that you're not, even if you get one of these pre-orders, you're not guaranteed to get it on launch day.
Right. And I also feel like that's part of their like, they're not Amazon. They don't have the full fulfillment capabilities of like, but yes. Also, it was my understanding of the like Nintendo of America system correct that everybody who signs up for it will eventually get an invite from Nintendo.
Oh, that's interesting.
But not, it could be 2 months from now, it could be 3 months from now, it could be 4 months from now. But everybody eventually will be able to buy it if they want to. But this is not based on anything I've read or people talking about. It's just my like kind of cursory understanding. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Right. Well, and I think there's obviously a lot of just like question marks and things here we're not going to know. We got an email from Mark Hine, who was basically just wanted us to talk about the pre-order experience. And he said he was able to basically pre-order everything. He lives in Australia, and he says also here in Australia nothing is sold out, including the GameCube controller. So like,
Oh, that's so interesting.
it's just interesting that like in some markets like the machine is working or there's a different relationship between supply and demand. So yeah, just all of this is a weird little crapshoot of like geography and who knows what.
Before we move on to Amiibo, the last thing I want to say about Switch 2 pre-orders is, we don't know how many have been pre-ordered. We don't know what Nintendo's intentions are as far as like what stock on launch day is going to look like.
Right.
But some analysts, so take it with a huge grain of salt, have been saying, oh, like maybe like 5 million at launch, 6 million at launch, which would be like launch week, which would be in my mind a crazy amount for Nintendo to sell, especially when you compare it to the lifetime sales of the Wii U.
Yeah, lifetime sales of the Wii U is like 13 million. If they can sell half that many in the first weekend of Switch 2, it's kind of remarkable.
That'd be so crazy.
I have a question for you about the phrase "take it with a grain of salt."
Uh-huh.
Does the size of the grain of salt have a direct relationship to how incredulous you should be of the statement being made?
I can't speak for the progenitors of the saying or everybody else in the world, but for myself, yes, the larger the grain of salt,
gotcha,
the more
incredulous you should be of the claim being made. And so it's not. It is still just a grain, though. It's just an abnormally large grain of salt.
Yes, that's right.
And salt is like a crystalline structure that is irregular, so like there actually are different sized grains of salt.
Yeah, I agree with I agree with everything you're saying.
Mark just goes, "Yeah, I love it." Okay,
Switch 2, putting it to bed. Let's talk about Amiibo, baby.
Yeah, compatible with Switch 2. Okay, so there were 8 Amiibo that all went live for pre-order at some point during this period. They are as follows: the 4 Breath of the Wild Amiibo, the 3 Tears of the Kingdom Amiibo, the Sages, all as separate individual packages. They are not a group of 4. The 3 Street Fighter Amiibo, and the GameStop exclusive set of Street Fighter 6 cards.
I didn't even know about these.
Mark, yes, you're right. You didn't. I didn't. It was a big like, hey, wait, what are these? And also like, hey, they're GameStop exclusive was like a sub like, hey, they're a new Street Fighter Amiibo. That's only for the sickos. There are Street Fighter card amiibos.
What?
For the hyper sickos. They're a GameStop exclusive. And now you're out of your mind, right? So to order these things, I was able to order 3 of the 4 Tears of the Kingdom amiibo.
Did the 4th one actually go on?
We'll talk about it in a second. I just want to lay out what I was able to pre-order. I was able to get the 3 Sages and the 3 Street Fighter amiibo from Best Buy, so I could go and pick them up at the same Best Buy with you on launch night.
And when did they go live? Was it in this like morass with everything else, or was it like there wasn't a specific time
with the morass?
Oh, okay.
And the Street Fighter cards.
Had they? I'm sorry. Had they announced that? Was it like?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So were you anticipating that they were going live at that time?
Yes, I was looking for the product pages because I was curious about it, but I was being hit with those same lines at that time. But like around midnight when I was like, forget it, I'm going to bed, and then I was like, oh, let me just see. Oh yeah, Yulin. Okay, I can get these guys. So did all of that, and then tried to get the Street Fighter cards on GameStop.com. Was not successful because they allocated very few of them for the website. It's clearly something meant to drive people to the store to pre-order in person. What an insane choice to do that at the exact same time as the pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2, which is already driving people into the stores. Anyway, I went to the Best Buy on Friday because I had some time, placed the pre-order for those cards. So that's the only thing I'm going to be picking up from that Best Buy is 22 Street Fighter Amiibo cards. on to the question of Tears of the Kingdom Yonobo. I don't think he ever went up for pre-order.
That's what it doesn't seem like anybody has been able to pre-order and ever saw it go up for pre-order anything.
Right. So I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, Wither Yunobo, is he a victim of like economic uncertainty, of tariffs, of manufacturing delays?
Why just Yonobo? I mean, I guess if it is like manufacturing delays, like alphabetically, he's last. I don't know.
Yeah.
So insanely on the Best Buy website right now, you can pre-order Riju, Sidon, and Tulin, but Yonobo just says coming soon.
Oh, mysterious.
Very mysterious.
It can never be simple.
No, it can never be simple. So anyway, and I've got the we discussed that already. The camera and Pro controller pre-ordered from Target.
Forsaking, I'm sorry, you may have said this, but you have chosen to forsake the like figure Street Fighter 6.
No.
You ordered those.
I
as
pre-ordered
well.
those from Best Buy.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you did say that.
I have 6 amiibo that I'll be picking up from Best Buy. I don't think I want to. I mean, I'll go with you if you're going to go at midnight. But otherwise, like, there's no urgency to get those.
Right.
But yeah, Yonobo missing in action. One of the greater mysteries of our time. And like, there has been to my eyes, and I've been like on the r/amiibo subreddit and like back on Twitter just so I can follow Amiibo alerts and Wario64 and like really be plugged into this stuff. And no one seems to know where Yonobo is.
Oh man, this is going to be like an Ancient Aliens episode in
It
like
really
20
is,
years or
yes.
something.
And like the Nintendo will scrub from the record that they ever made a Yonobo amiibo.
They'll release like a Nintendo Switch 3 edition of Tears of the Kingdom that removes him entirely. We don't know what you're talking about.
We don't know.
What are Gorons?
So anyway, that's the story with
that's kind of I'm glad you were able to get those and like the cards. I'm excited to see what those like are and
well, yes, and so further to this, I don't know that anyone has detailed what the amiibo functionality is for
right.
Street Fighter 6. So like I'm getting the card so I have an amiibo for each of the characters, but I don't know what that means.
Do you do you think that you'll buy the like Street Fighter 6 1+2 Reboot Camp version for the Switch 2?
So yes, and partially because I'm already in for $160 on Street Fighter 6 on the Nintendo Switch.
Right, each one is
$40,
$40,
including the pack of 22 cards. That was also $40. So if I didn't, Mark, I would look quite foolish.
I really hope that the Yonobo thing gets clarified. Yeah, no,
I just want to stay on Street Fighter 6 for a second. A game that I really liked and was really enjoyed playing it on PlayStation 5. That's probably still the better place to play it. But having it in my hands, having it on new hardware, like, I think I will get more playtime out of Street Fighter 6 on my Switch 2 than I did on, if I am ever able to buy a Switch 2.
And really, what is a Street Fighter game if you haven't bought it multiple times across multiple generations?
I mean, it's a great point. It's an excellent point.
Just waiting for Capcom to re-release Street Fighter 2.
Yeah,
on the Switch 2.
Here's the other thing: is that Street Fighter 2 years 1 through 2 edition or whatever it's called.
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6. Yes, I'm sorry. The one that's coming out on Switch 2 is a $70 game. So it's not the dreaded $80 game that no one has a stomach for. And it doesn't make you pay for the DLC of those first 2 years of characters, which like each of those season passes would set you back like $25 or $30. Like it's not cheap. Street Fighter really makes you pay for those characters if you get in early, and I believe they're still like full price normally now. So like Street Fighter 6 on Switch, assuming that it runs well, is like kind of a deal.
Well,
Maybe not when you add the $160 of amiibo to it.
Well, I'm feeling like I am really envious of Mark from Australia who wrote into us about his experience, being able to just like easily breezily pre-order this stuff, including the GameCube controller, because that's next on like for Nintendo fans in America on the hit list. And I don't know that I am ready to do this all again. It's so stressful.
Sure, yeah, it is stressful. I do think so. There's like a narrowing of audiences in a lot of these things, right? Should we just talk about like when and how it goes live?
Like last week, the product page for the Switch 2 GameCube controller went up on the Nintendo of America website. The price is $64.99, so $65.
Right, and can we just review my scale?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so my scale was it would be great if it were 40. I hope it's 50. 60 would be okay, and 70 would be insane, right?
Yeah.
Something
like that.
I think each of those maybe bumped up $10.
Yeah, maybe 80
yes, that's right. I hope it's 50. 60 is okay. I wouldn't be happy with 70.
80. It'll be 80,
but it'll be 80.
Yeah,
right.
It turns out that it's 65. And do you think that it was going to be 60?
Yes, 100%.
In a not crazy economy tariff.
Yes,
like nobody knows what's happening world. And I think just like with the Switch 2 accessories, this also got bumped up
$5 more
by $5. Yeah. And do you want to let's compare it to previous controllers?
Sure.
Because and you looked up this information from your receipts from buying them. The Nintendo 64 controller was $50. The Genesis controller was also $50,
which is probably the biggest ripoff of all of these because it's
got that extra face button. Two of them.
Wait,
what do you mean? 6?
No. There's only the 3. It's not the 6-button
okay.
Genesis controller. It's just the 3-button Genesis controller.
Got it.
Right.
And then the Super Nintendo controller was $30.
Right.
And I can't remember what the NES controllers were.
Yeah, and also remember that they came as a pair.
Oh,
so
yeah, good point.
I think they were $40 for the pair, which is
the only ones that came in like a pair like
yes, that's
right. So this is $15 more than the previously most expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
So according to Wario64, pre-orders in North America will start May 13th for this, but I don't know where that information comes from.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I just saw it on Wario64. And that's also like with an asterisk because you can pre-order it if you are invited to pre-order the Switch 2 from Nintendo.com.
In that first wave. So if you are part of the people in that May 8th wave of pre-orders from Nintendo.com.
May 8th through the 12th.
Yes, the GameCube controller will be available to you to pre-order as well, which is kind of a nice bonus if you're in that first wave. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hey, we absolutely will see what happens. The point that I was leading up to is that like to order this, you do need to be a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber, right?
Yes.
Further, this thing is at least theoretically only compatible with the Switch 2, right? So, the only people who are going to try to buy this are the people who either have a Switch 2 pre-ordered or plan to get one, and are subscribing to Nintendo Switch Online. So, like,
and is it expansion pack exclusive? Like, is it Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack? Yeah, I'm just gonna
look it up. Because the GameCube library is exclusive to plus expansion pack subscribers, but I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. The library exclusive to expansion pack subscribers.
The library is.
So talking about like narrowing of audience. Yeah.
So whether or not you need the higher level subscription to order the controller, you would need it in order to play the games with that controller.
Yeah, that's right.
But like there are other GameCube. They say it only works with the GameCube library, GameCube Classics library, but it'll work on a ton of other games.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of these have. So yeah. Anyway, yes. Things will be narrowing here. One sort of problem here is that they are doing a sort of reasonable limit of one per account. But the GameCube is famously if people had for Wavebird controllers like all the time. That was a common thing, right? That was maybe the first time I really remember people actually having 4 controllers for a system. Just like then that being a common thing and not something that a psycho was doing. But you can only get one if you're gonna get the Switch version of it.
Yeah, for now.
For now, yeah. So obviously we're both gonna try for this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully, I'm ordering it as part of my Switch 2 Mario
definitely.
Kart World bundle. But if not, then I'll just go back into the trenches this time on Nintendo.com.
And talking about like narrowing down for pre-orders or a lottery system. Finally, Nintendo San Francisco, the new store, like flagship store that Nintendo is opening in San Francisco, is holding a grand opening event May 15th through 18th, and reservations are going to be required in order to visit during that time. So,
Mark, are you tired?
Reservations open this Thursday, May 1st at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And you can go to like experience.nintendo.com. If you tried for the Switch 2 in-person, like hands-on thing, you'll be very familiar with the experience at experience.nintendo.com. I guess the question is like, what about after the grand opening? The FAQ says the reservations are not normally required, but I believe for some time in Japan, when the stores were newer, you would have to go in the morning and get like a return time, and it would be like a physical thing.
Right.
But when I was there, a lot of the time you just like they weren't doing that anymore, but you had to queue outside the store, and they would just like let people in, as room open. So that would be my guess as to what happens if they have the space to put a queue after this. But anyways, if you want to be there opening weekend, you'll have to have a reservation, and it'll be another harrowing website clicking, getting there right at 9 a.m. Type of experience.
Now, we're not doing this, right?
This one I feel comfortable sitting out on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mark, all of the news today was just about how it's hard to buy Nintendo.
Yeah. Are you still feeling like one of your favorite games is trying to buy Nintendo products? It feels exhausting.
It is exhausting. And I did not succeed this time. I mean, I succeeded in getting a lot of like interesting stuff, but not like the crucial thing. I do consider the Street Fighter 6 cards a pretty big win, and I don't know if they're ever going to restock those, or that feels like the kind of thing that like you ask Capcom tomorrow if they have future plans for Amiibo, and they'll be like, "What are you talking about? What's Amiibo?" Yeah, I mean, I still, even though everything was super frustrating, had a really great time on Thursday night.
Definitely got the adrenaline going.
Well, I guess it was Wednesday night. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. It was it was fun but bad, and I wish it could be fun and good. But yeah, I mean, do you have any final thoughts? I mean, I'm very excited for you that you got the Switch bundle and your first ever Pro controller.
Yeah, that's right. And it just shows you how like in the bag I was for it, because I honestly will probably just use the Joy-Con a lot of the time, but maybe not. Maybe by getting the Pro controller, I'll have committed and will actually be playing using it. But thank you. Yeah, it was. I'm hopeful and optimistic that before the Switch 2 launches, you'll find a way to be able to procure one, even if that means turning to a life of crime. I support you no matter what you do.
Yeah,
you can do no wrong in my eyes.
Here, I would ask you not to support me descending into a life of crime.
Sorry, it's too late.
All right, well,
I admire you too much.
Well, that's sweet, but I hate it. All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you're not in our Discord, you should be. Email us and we'll let you in. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.